welcome back to episode 3 of the Stay Tuned podcast. I have a special guest, close friend, Sierra. And Sierra's on the soccer team here at Stanford. And I've known her for 4 years now.
Yeah.
And I'll let her introduce herself to you guys.
Yeah.
Say what's up.
Hi guys, I'm Sierra. I am originally from San Diego and am now at Stanford and have been here for 4 years, and I'm going to play one more season, so I'll be around a little bit longer. And I'm majoring in science, technology, and society. Best major at Stanford.
Yeah, triple major.
Yeah, triple major.
I did the same thing. Do you want to try to tell people what that is? I have to do this in interviews all the time now.
Yeah.
What is that?
I usually say it's studying how technology has shaped our society and our culture. I change it for every job interview I have of what exactly it is, but yeah.
You can kind of switch it too. That's why it's nice. You can say it focuses on this within this job. So first question that I ask people when they come on to the podcast is, what is something that you've been staying tuned into recently in your life, past couple weeks, month, whatever it is?
Yeah, I think there's two things. One of them is over spring break, really got into Elizabeth Holmes and everything Theranos. So I started reading Bad Blood, and I finished that really quickly because it's really well written and just really interesting.
So you just, over spring break, you just did the whole thing?
Yeah. I mean, I wasn't doing anything else.
Yeah.
And then there's a Hulu documentary, or a Hulu series, and then documentary. So I've been kind of following all of those things, which I think is just fascinating because she went to Stanford, and it was this big story of the first, self-made female CEO, and it tanked.
Yeah.
So I think, as a woman who studies at Stanford, it's just interesting to read her story.
I think for people that don't know as much about that story and want to kind of know more but might not want to read the book and watch a documentary like you did, can you give a little background on what happened? Why was it a big problem? Why was there bad blood? Right?
Yeah. So it was this Stanford undergrad Elizabeth, she basically, I don't even know if she declared a major. She dropped out after 1 or 2 years at Stanford because she had this idea. She always had this fear of needles. And so she wanted to be able to run different tests and diagnostics without using a lot of blood. But she basically, long story short, was selling something that she couldn't really produce at the time. So she was saying, we can get this with a little drop of blood. And it didn't actually work. And so none of their chemists, no one could make it work. And she just continuously said...
But they got millions of dollars.
So many people invested, all of these crazy big-time names. After reading it, you realize that she knew what she was doing from a business perspective. Yeah. But she didn't have the product to back it at all. And it's just a crazy story because they had all of the employees signing NDAs, and they had a huge team of lawyers. So any employee that spoke out would be attacked by the lawyers, and... so it took a while for them to get the story out, but what I thought was interesting is that they are kind of using it because, there's all these tech companies that say they're going to do something, and it's easier for them to kind of fake it, but when it's obviously human lives, it's a little different. So I think a lot of people are saying this was a little bit of a test case of you can't false advertise as much as people do and promise things you can't actually deliver. Yeah,
it was crazy and blew up, especially at Stanford. It's very relevant to this area. A lot of money and investing in startups and all that right here. But you said your second part of what you've been staying tuned into. What is that second side?
The second part is just mental health within college sports, specifically the NCAA. It's a topic that's very close to my heart. So just kind of figuring out, what's going on, what problems there are, and hopefully kind of being able to come to some sort of solution or I really don't think that there is a one-size-fits-all solution, but at least some sort of change that can help other athletes and other people. Yeah,
definitely. We talked about this a lot recently, considering what happened on your team with Katie. And do you think that put it to the forefront for you, or was it before something you were thinking about?
It wasn't something I was thinking about much before. I always had understood the importance of, the mental side of life and just who you are as a person, and for me that was finding time to do things that made me happy and journal and all of those things, but I never met with a therapist or anything like that. And after all of this, it's really brought it to my attention of just how big of a problem it is and how important it is to, have people that you can talk to and have resources that you can talk to in, a little different way than you talk to your friends.
Yeah, for sure. And I think it's something that we've always known about as athletes, but never talked about. But now, exactly. I think COVID or whatever happened made it super like popular, and everybody's kind of speaking out about it right now. But I think that's an important point that you said of it's not a bad thing to talk to like a therapist or anything like that. I think there was a stigma that came with that. Yeah. But it's so important to just have that other outlet other than your teammates, I think. Yeah. Or your coaches, or even just like friends in general.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I meet with 2 different people every week, and I think that it's something that I never had even considered before, and I don't really know why. And it wasn't something where I was like, oh, I just don't want to do it. It just wasn't even a thought, because I was like, oh, there's nothing, going super wrong in my life right now that I really need to be talking to someone about. But I think now it's just really made me realize how beneficial it is, because, you can really go in there and say whatever, and obviously your closest friends, you feel that way, but exactly, you don't want to burden them all the time. You never know, right? So, yeah.
And I think that's a huge point, and people do need to keep hearing that. Because everything in life comes from here, right? Yeah. If your mental is not okay and stuff, you might not even know what's going on, then it's going to play out in life. So very important point. Another thing where we're like similar is we're both in FCA, both on the leadership team. How important is that community to you in the recent months and just over your Stanford career?
Yeah, I think that community has been a highlight, if not the most important part of my Stanford career. I think it is easy actually to say that it has been the most important piece of my Stanford career. I got involved through Derek Waldeck, who's teammate of Andrew's.
What's up, Derek?
Yeah. The summer coming into my freshman year, because our teams were on campus, and he was leading the men's and women's soccer Bible study.
Yeah, I remember that. We sat outside Donner, and now it's Sally Ride. Used to be Sarah.
And I hadn't always had a close relationship with God, and kind of my junior and senior year of high school, I started to grow closer with him, but I never had a community of people my age. Like, I would go and sit in church with my parents, but I didn't talk to, and I didn't feel comfortable in, my youth group in high school. So that was the first time where I'd sat with people who I felt like I related to on so many different levels. And I remember walking away from that thinking how cool it was to just be able to talk about my faith with this group of athletes at Stanford who know exactly what I'm going through. So that was my first taste of it. It's been foundational in kind of who I've grown to be in my relationship with Christ. And I think Monday nights, which is when we meet, has always been, just a highlight of my week. And in this, past 2 months, it's been a necessity. Like it's something that I'm like, I need, and I need to be there, because I think, it's the times of struggle and the times where you need to lean on people. And I think it's really nice to be able to lean on a community that believes the same things you believe, and that wants, to help you and not turn you away from God in times of trouble, but to really turn you towards him and show you that, he cares and he has a plan, and that we still just trust in him no matter what.
Definitely. And we could probably have that conversation for hours. Like we have
so many things to talk about in FCA.
But it's just a really good community, I agree.
Yeah.
And like you said, it's important to have like a group to lean on and feel comfortable with, but also it feels good to be leaned on as well, right? Yeah. Like once they were there for you, that like Christian nature of being there for them too. Yeah. And I've seen you do that. You probably don't even recognize how much you do that, but Sierra helps a lot of people out all the time. But moving on to my next question, for people that want to get to know you a little bit more, different than the soccer captain and star, great student, Stanford, San Diego. People probably tell from your blonde curly hair. But what's something that's unique about you that people probably wouldn't know?
Yeah. I think one thing that's pretty unique about me is that, I'm a big reader, which honestly at Stanford is not unique at all. But
I've never been a huge reader, but I have become one here.
Yeah, right? But I really like murder mystery novels. I think I got it from my dad. He has all of these, I forget who the author is, but all these books about, someone who's been wrongfully committed of murder and going back and tracing and figuring it all out. So I've read books just that have been passed down from him. And then my sister also loves to read, and she reads way faster than I do, so she just has I have a constant stream of books coming to me, and I read every night before I go to bed and read these murder mysteries, which doesn't really make sense to me because I can't watch scary shows before bed, but
there's something different. I don't know what it is. The visual kind of stimulates
exactly
our fear a little bit more for whatever reason. What's one book like most recently that you've really liked, murder mystery wise?
Pretty Girls by Karen Slaughter is...
Slaughter?
That's her last name.
It's her actual last name?
Actually. I don't know how that worked out, but it's actually one of the most messed up books I've read.
Okay. In a good way? Or in a bad?
It's pretty creepy, but it's a page turner. So you'll be glued in from the very beginning.
Good. Okay, so if you didn't know this about Sierra, she loves murder mystery novels. Yeah. And if you ever want to talk to her about them or recommend some to her, we'll read them before bed.
Exactly.
All right, so next question. Similar topic, but what do you think is a common misconception about Sierra that, given with who you are, captain of the women's soccer team, very successful team, Stanford, top school in the country, what do you think comes with that that's a misconception that isn't true about you?
Well, all my teammates joke around and call me Strict. That's their nickname for me.
Your nickname is Strict?
Yeah, it really started, we decided we'd come up with adjectives for my whole class, I think my sophomore year. And, people had, like Naomi's was bubbly or something like that. And then mine was Strict. I think Bianca's was pretty bad, too. Hers was something like chaos, or a lot. I think hers was just a lot.
A lot is thrown around women's soccer. A lot.
But everyone calls me Strict, not as much anymore. But I think to get to this point, we all have to be very disciplined. Right. And I think I'm definitely on the far end of the spectrum of, doing extra practice and working super hard in school. But I think I can be strict and also have a lot of fun. And I think sometimes people have this misconception about me and about, I think, a lot of other Stanford athletes too, is like, yes, we do get our stuff done, but at the same time, I mess around with my teammates all the time, play pranks. Like, I love to scare people and hide around corners and do all that. So, I still like to find ways to have fun and not always be strict.
So you would say Strict is not the most accurate name, even though it's a funny nickname that your team gave you. But I've seen Sierra outside of soccer too, just in life. Very fun, like always laughing, not very strict per se, but definitely disciplined, like you said. It's good to know. So if you want to hang out with Sierra, she's not going to be strict and like straight face with you. She's going to be smiling and laughing and having fun. So last kind of point is Stanford focus, but more on you. How do you think Stanford has changed you or formed you from the girl who came out of high school to now senior, starting your 5th year? How do you think you've changed? Like, what's the main way that you think Sierra's changed in her time here?
Yeah, I mean, I think there are so many different ways. I think Stanford has made me a much stronger person, and I think I have a lot, I think I'm just mentally in such a better space than I was prior to coming here. I think, we all come in as freshmen and we're thrown into this environment that's crazy, and we've all kind of, no matter if you're an athlete, stellar on the field, or if you're really good in the classroom, you've always been the best. And then you come here and you're not anywhere near the best. At least most people are. And so I think I was just a very timid person before coming here, and I don't think I was necessarily not confident, but I didn't have as much confidence in myself as I do now. And I really cared a lot about what other people were thinking about me and,
yeah,
like trying to prove myself to other people. And I came in as I redshirted my freshman year, not because I was injured or anything, just because I wasn't good enough. Like, wasn't strong enough, wasn't fast enough.
You guys were very, very good.
We were very talented that year. We had a stacked team, but
you guys have like 4 of them on the national team.
Yeah,
maybe more. I don't know.
Yeah,
that was a conservative 4. But
yeah. So I think it kind of just through that, and then also I was challenged a lot in the classroom, and I wanted to take classes that weren't super easy because I wanted to see how I compared to other Stanford student athletes and Stanford students, but also just to challenge myself because I came to Stanford for academics as well. So I think just being in this environment where you never feel super comfortable has really shaped me and shaped who I am, and has allowed me to feel confident in just being me and knowing that I'm good at some things and I'm not good at other things, and being okay with that. Where I think when I came in, I was, way more worried about what I wasn't good at and all these things. Right. And so I think now I have a way better perspective just on me as a person. And I think I feel way more comfortable taking risks and doing things because I know I'm confident in myself, and I know that if it doesn't work out, there's other opportunities, and I still know who I am as a person.
Nice. That's really good to hear. That's like inspiring. And I hope a lot of people can feel that journey through college too.
Yeah.
I think it's a unique time in life, right? Mm-hmm. I think almost everybody can relate to that at Stanford. Mm-hmm. Wait for them to walk by. I opened the window, so it's not smart. So I think, like what you said, everybody can relate to that feeling of coming to Stanford and feeling like, not like you did before. You were the top of the top before, and now you're one of however many we have. And you might feel like you're not good enough, or you're not confident like you were before, because it's just a whole new thing that you're thrown into.
Yeah.
But I think over time, like you said, finding a good community, taking more risk, learning what you're good at, and doing that is an important thing that everybody should explore.
Yeah.
In college. And if it doesn't work out, like we talked about, there's resources to help you too. And it's not like you have to find that confidence quickly. It'll kind of just happen as you go. But yeah, Sierra always just is inspiring whenever she talks. I'm sure everybody says that to you. But last thing before we finish is you can just say like 30 seconds, whatever you want, to the audience of whoever it is. I don't know who it is, but you can say something like an inspiring thing or like a message to a certain group of people.
Yeah.
Whatever you want. You can say hi to your family. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, hi family. I think my biggest message to give to everyone right now, and I think this has been something that I've felt a lot, but now especially more than ever, is just to do things that make you happy and find joy in your life. And if something isn't making you happy, don't do it. Like, I think we feel like there's so many things in this world that we have to do, and these boxes that we have to check. And if it's not something that you enjoy, it's not really doing anything for you. So sort of in a little bit of a, selfish, like mental health type thing, but just really find things every day that make you happy and do those things. And don't be distracted by things that don't help you and make you happy.
I love that. We'll leave it right there. That's a perfect ending.
Perfect.
Awesome. Thanks, Sierra.
Yeah.
I should have really cool. You're good.